Hello and welcome along to another noob session. As the title would suggest, this is a work in progress vid plus an equipment upgrade video. So then, where have we got with the new Gundam? So as you can see, he's basically done. All his weapons are left to do. His backpack is nearly done. There's still a bit more decaling left to do. So let's go over what we've done so far. As you can see, we've completed all the legs, all the decals are on, all the paintwork's done, all the upper torso, got the little metal effect parts there, on the skirt armour, all the little vernier thrusters, some little detail in the side there, all the metal's been painted, all the candy's been done. It's all been panel lined, decaled, and I'm really pleased with the way that it's turned out. Let's see if I can move the camera. So, like I said, there's a fair bit more to do. There's a few weeks' work for me left to do, but I'm as pleased as punch. Oh, as well, all the riveting that I had to do around the helmet, the shoulder pads, and the back of the hands. There you go. And everything had a satin varnish. Now, if I wish in the future, this could all be fully weathered, streaking, etc., because it's got the satin varnish from top to bottom, and it's all, yeah, like I said, it's all ready for further weathering if I need to, if I get bored of the way it looks. But the problem with that is there's no going back once you do it. So what is left to do, as you can probably tell, it's all the weapons, all the fin funnels, hyper bazooka, the gun, etc., and the shield. Now, the shield, what I intend to do with the shield is basically make a set of videos about the basics of getting it to this level. Now, what I mean by that is cleaning up nubs and then prepping it for paint, or prepping it for effect parts, because I've still got some effect parts left that I'd like to use. Pre-shading, putting your first coat of paint down, highlighting, masking, on the inside as well. There's a lot of detail that can be picked out on that. Doing some masking around these parts here to pick this detail out. Using alclads to get like the cherry red effect that I've got on these doors here and his chin, and on the back there. How did I do that? And some other, you know, general bits and dabs right up to decaling and finishing off. Now, this, I think, the shield is a model in itself, because it's a large piece, and there's no hiding your mistakes, you know, on large areas like this. So we'll keep it fairly simple, the panel lining as well, etc. So that might be over a couple of videos, or it might be just one long one, and it'll just cover everything that I've done to get to this stage. So if that's up your street, let me know if that'll be helpful. So then, moving on now, equipment upgrade. So what did I upgrade, you wonder? Now, with every acquisition, there's always a little story. So my little story is, my first two airbrushes were the ones that I use all the time, and that I've used for making, for painting the lower half of this Gundam. The upper half I use something else, but these are the two airbrushes I've been using since dot. They're cheap Chinese ones off eBay, for instance. This one I brought off eBay and it was a tenner. Obviously didn't come with anything other than an airbrush in a plastic box, and to be honest, it's fine for doing what I do with it, i.e. I put on primer, and I also use it for varnishes, etc. Then when I brought my compressor, this one came along with it. Now this is obviously a copy. I say obviously, it's like a Vida type airbrush. It doesn't. It's a, you know, it's a no-name. It's generic, and it's a replica, let's say, of a I think it's a Iwata Micron Plus, something along them lines, 0.2mm, and yeah, I've had varying degrees of success with it, wins and fails along the way. But what these airbrushes have taught me is how to deal with the problems you're going to that you're going to come across using an airbrush. Now, what I mean by that is I've been spoilt with what I've had in comparison to what these are. Now, I would suggest anybody, if they're on a budget, to buy Chinese airbrushes to get used to the ins and outs of airbrushes, how they work, setting up a regulator on your compressor, cleaning, stripping, cleaning, assembling, all that stuff. It's all good. You know, the engineering's not up to much once you compare it with something else. But I would suggest, if your budget is tight and you need a couple of airbrushes, like I said, one for doing varnish and one for your good work, you know, you can't go wrong. They do work and the results are right there. I've not had a problem really with bad paint. It's just getting them to work right. Once they do work right, they're okay. So then, what have I upgraded to? Well, here we go. The other week at work, I was approached by a guy that was just leaving the hobby, and his hobby and interest was painting Lexan bodies for RC cars. Now, he'd been doing this for quite a while, and family commitments said he's had to put that on the back burner because of family commitments, etc. And I just happened to say to him, "Do you want to sell your airbrushes?" And I knew that he had I knew that he had airbrushes, but I didn't know exactly what he had. So he says, "I'll have a think about it." A week or so later, he comes in and says, "I've brought those airbrushes with me. They're in the car." So I didn't really ask what there was, but the first one he pulled out was this, and it was an Iwata Revolution. Now this one I've used for a wide range of things. So I've got testing mainly, but what I like about it is, it's, even though it's a 0.5 needle, you can go from doing a wide cone of spray for your priming, etc., right down to really detailed highlighting. And I also use it for a little bit of pre-shading. It is a really good airbrush. Now, like I said, I've been spoiled. The needles on these alone, they're heavier than what you get in the Chinese ones, and they look a little bit more resilient and resistant to knocks and bangs, whereas I've had to straighten the needles in the two Chinese airbrushes countless times. But this, you know, it's a great little airbrush. It's brilliant. So I brought that one off him, and he says, "I've also got another one." Then he whips out the big guns and hits me with a Iwata HPCH. Now, if you know your airbrushes, you'll know that this is probably still selling for upwards of nearly £300. So I was really pleased to take this off his hands. Now, on this one here, the Chinese one, you've got your MAC valve and you've got your needle stop adjustment. Now, the needle stop adjustment allows, well, it stops this chuck here from coming all the way back, and so you get a more consistent, more regular line for your paints if you're doing pre-shading or you want some detailed work. And I've had, really, to be honest, no success with it at all, and I think that was basically down to the poor quality of the needle and the nozzles that are on these. So it was clogging up when I was trying to set it. But I used it with this and I didn't have one problem. I didn't use the MAC valve, however. I was just using the needle chuck adjustment. So these things are really great. You know, it's a great step up. However, I'm not going to stop using these two Chinese airbrushes. You know, they'll have their place on my workbench. For instance, that will still be used for putting varnishes through, etc. Because if it clogs, no problem, strip it, clean it, assemble it, it'll still work. This one, I'm thinking more along the lines of metallics and alclads. This one I'll use for my primer and other work, and obviously this will be for my detail work, my best work, because it's great when you pull the trigger on these. The Chinese ones feel like there's a cheese grater that lives in there. But these ones, they're like butter. They're silky smooth. They're great. I really like them. I haven't done I'll say extensive. I've practiced on spoons, and I've been working on, you know, just getting used to the feel of the airbrush, because this one's a little bit lighter than the others. But the engineering beneath it is fantastic. They're easier to clean out. There's the base of the colour cup. It's more fluted. It lets your paint flow a bit more freely, whereas the inside of the Chinese ones, it's a separate tube, etc. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. 2 new, well, used but certainly not abused airbrushes. My new Gundam Verkai is almost done, and like I said, I'm thinking of doing a couple of videos on the basics using just that one piece of shield. So that's my little rant. Thank you very much for tuning in again, and I'll see you very soon on another noob session.